Stimulus checks are being discussed by a large group of lawmakers in Congress. Many people want to include an extra $100 stimulus check into the relief package. Janet Yellen has also confirmed that the fourth stimulus package is not going to affect inflation, and so that's good news for all of us. That's good news for the many people that need stimulus checks. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen defended the Biden administration's 2021 stimulus package against criticism that it is blamed for high inflation. Yellen told lawmakers during a hearing that the House Ways and Means Committee that the American Rescue Plan, signed into law, has contributed only modestly to high prices. Yellen said, "I had to think about what the situation, especially for low-income families, would be without the help provided by the American Rescue Plan." Yellen did acknowledge the pain caused by inflation and regular gas prices. Yellen said that gas prices are an enormous problem, it's an enormous burden on American households, and we need to do everything we can to address that. Yellen downplayed the inflationary impact of the stimulus package, pointing instead to the economy's miraculously rapid recovery. She said the success of the policy adopted is that we have an economy with the strongest labor market, arguably in the post-war period. Yellen also fielded questions on ways the Biden administration is addressing the historically high inflation, in particular a review of some of the tariffs imposed by the former president. She said that lifting some of those tariffs could help bring down prices, but cannot be viewed as a solution to help America's inflation problem. Some reductions may be warranted, Yellen told lawmakers. It could help to bring down the price of things that people buy that are burdensome. And I want to make it clear, I honestly don't think tariff policy is a way to respect inflation. Still, Yellen said that the Biden administration is reviewing its tariff policy, and changes may take place in the coming weeks. Knowing that officials are taking a look at tariffs that may be hurting consumers and whether they can reconfigure those tariffs in a way that would make it more strategic. According to a new poll, Biden's approval rating among Americans has hit an all-time low. The poll published found that 50% of those surveyed disapprove of Biden's performance, while 39% of respondents approve. 80% of respondents who are registered Republicans strongly disapprove of President Biden's job as president, and 30% of respondents who are registered Democrats approve of his handling. Overall, 80% of Democrats said they approve that Biden is doing a good job as president. And there has been tax rebates sent out to citizens in the state of Idaho, United States, with these being issued to those individuals who were full-year Idaho residents for 2020 and 2021, and filed income returns for those 2 years. When it comes to the money that Idaho residents can receive, there is a $75 for each taxpayer and each dependent, or 12% of the 2020 taxes, whichever amount is bigger. That is what you will receive from the Idaho State Tax Commission. The way the Tax Commission is issuing the tax rebates is by sending them out in order that they have received individuals' 2021 income tax returns, beginning with any taxpayers who are eligible to receive a tax refund. It is expected there will be roughly 25,000 rebate payments that go out on a weekly basis. Folks, do you think that President Biden can do all that it takes to send the fourth stimulus check? Tell me what you think in the comments below.
Now, on an entirely different matter, Washington Democrats' inflation is slamming consumers with the highest prices in 40 years. One of the toughest blows has been the soaring cost of a trip to the gas pump. A gallon of regular costs a full $1 more today than it did a year ago. So after triggering an historic run of inflation and hammering American producers with anti-energy policies designed to restrict supply, our Democratic colleagues are suddenly talking about gas prices. And there's a bold, creative plan, temporarily suspending the gas tax to the tune of 18 cents. Oh, and excluding diesel. A slap in the face to truckers and a further burden on the supply chain. Oh, and just to make the political games transparent, they want this to expire right after the midterms, as soon as the next Congress is sworn in. Democrats want to blow a $20 billion hole in highway funding so they can try to mask the effects of their own liberal policies on working Americans. They've spent the entire year waging a holy war on affordable American energy, and now they want to use a pile of taxpayers' money to literally hide the consequences. As the senior senator from West Virginia has pointed out, people want their bridges and their roads, and we have an infrastructure bill we passed this summer, and they want to take all that away? It just doesn't make sense. He added, this half-baked proposal doesn't make any more sense than the president's pointless decision to take oil out of the Strategic Petroleum Reserve last year. President Clinton's Treasury Secretary Larry Summers called this stunt short-sighted, ineffective, goofy, and gimmicky. That's the Secretary of the Treasury in the Bill Clinton administration about this idea. Back in 2008, then candidate Obama himself said this: "We're arguing over a gimmick that would save you half a tank of gas over the course of the entire summer so that everyone in Washington can pat themselves on the back and say they did something." Well, let me tell you, this isn't an idea designed to get you through the summer. It's designed to get them through an election. That's Barack Obama in 2008, and he was right. Look, if Democrats actually want to help the American people fill their tanks, they wouldn't have been attacking American energy every way possible for the entire year. President Biden made killing the Keystone XL pipeline his day one priority. Democrats voted in lockstep to endorse President Biden's ban on new energy exploration on federal lands. At every turn, in every way, Democrats have made it harder to produce affordable and reliable American energy. Take any form of energy, and if the people in San Francisco don't find it fashionable, the Biden administration has gone after it. 3 years ago, under Republican policies, the United States became a net exporter of oil for the first time in more than 70 years. From a sheer mathematical perspective, for the very first time since World War II, we were producing all that we needed and then some. Alas, a very different philosophy now controls Washington. In President Biden's first year, our own oil imports from Russia hit a new all-time high. But as we speak, events in Eastern Europe are reminding the entire world that energy abundance is not just about families' pocketbooks. There's a colossal strategic cost when our nation and our allies become economically dependent on countries who don't like us very much. Some of our European allies have spent many years voluntarily winding down reliable sources like nuclear and coal and refusing to tap into their own considerable natural gas reserves via fracking. Instead, they gambled on less reliable sources, outsourced their perceived dirty work to places like Russia. Western European elites decided they wanted their energy production out of sight and out of mind. And Putin was all too happy to oblige them. Even after Russia invaded Georgia in 2008,